First off, raise your hand if you're afraid of flying. Well, it's not only you, since about 27.5% of the global population also shares this fear. And among many causes, one of the strongest is the fear of air crashes. Well, let me tell you, this fear should now be over. Why? It's called Traffic Collision Avoidance System. It all started in the 1950s. Aviation was becoming each time increasingly accessible. And even though early systems were limited, and visual guidance was still crucial in some sectors, there was a problem. Airspaces were becoming denser, and the existing technologies were not designed for this new level of traffic. These limitations even contributed to several high-profile air crashes during this period. This is why the Federal Aviation Administration of the United States began developing designs that could address the problem. But it started as a low-expectation, small-scale experimental project carried out by a handful of engineers who were simply trying to prevent another tragedy. Nevertheless, these systems struggled in denser spaces and weren't reliable enough for real-world use. Meanwhile, a key technology emerged, the transponder. Before we continue, let me explain what that is. Initially, there are several types of transponders, but I will explain how the most common one works, the Mode S transponder. This is a system that sends identification, speed, and altitude parameters to the aircraft and to traffic control, ensuring everyone knows exactly who and where each aircraft is. Now, the transponder is not TCAS. It doesn't avoid collisions. It simply provides the information. TCAS is a system that later uses that information to make decisions and prevent air crashes. This transformed the sky from a place in which controllers guessed their aircraft were into a place in which aircraft could now identify themselves and show their status instantly, with much more informational detail than previous limited radars. This way, not so much communication was needed, as now aircraft could talk by themselves. So, now that we know what the transponder is, let's continue with the development of the TCAS. Fast forward to 1981, the FAA formally launched the development of what would become the TCAS. This project built on decades of research and introduced a new idea. Aircraft could interrogate themselves directly without relying on humans at all. This independence was crucial, as it meant the aircraft could act even if the controller couldn't. 3 years later, in 1984, the final prototypes were tested on real aircraft under different scenarios, and the results were all successful. Finally, by the end of the decade, these started being widely implemented, and regulations started requiring them on large commercial aircraft. And all of this, the transponders, the signals, the tiny experimental ideas, eventually became the TCAS. It didn't begin as a major program or a revolutionary plan. It began as a small, low-expectation project carried out by a handful of engineers. Over time, those early attempts grew into one of the most consequential safety systems ever introduced into aviation. It didn't just improve safety, it fundamentally redefined how aircraft relate to one another. It gave them the ability to sense each other, to predict danger, and to coordinate evasive action long before a human could even act. It replaced uncertainty by precision. It replaced human reaction time by an automated dialogue. It replaced the fragile trust of the early aviation era with a system that could literally think faster than the problem itself. Today, TCAS operates silently on every commercial flight. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't ask for attention. Most passengers will never notice it, never hear it, never know it even intervened. but it is there every second, watching, calculating, and protecting. And because it is there, mid-air collisions have become almost unthinkable. A type of accident that once shaped headlines and public fear has been reduced to a statistical rarity so small it barely registers. It is one of the reasons commercial aviation is considered one of the safest forms of transportation anywhere in the world. In conclusion, the development of the TCAS wasn't simply a technological advancement, but a turning point that redefined safety in aviation. What was once a source of uncertainty and fear has become a system of precision, safety, and constant protection, making flying today not only safe, but extraordinarily reliable. So, next time you jump into an aircraft, think of this. Is it really worth it to be scared of flying? Thank you.